All right. My name is Ryan Johnson. I also work for my consulting group. I've been a developer for probably 5 years now, and before that I did graphic design for, I don't know, 7 years before that. So designers are idiots, but so are developers. I mean, obviously this is a joke, but at the same time, every joke has a little bit of truth to it, and I think designers and developers always, there's a little bit of divide between the two. So we'll kind of talk about that. From the designer's perspective, I think they always kind of feel like, they've done all this research, they've, talked to the users, they've, come up with all these great ideas, and they show developers, and they're kind of like, that's dumb. We can't even. That's not even possible. So. Now, from the developer's perspective, they just see this Photoshop file appear from this, whiny artist who's like, "I need all this magical things to be made." And the developer's like, "I don't even know if that's possible, but I'll try." And I think, they're in their head, they're thinking things like, "They didn't, I don't know if I have time to make these things happen, or this, may not even be possible with the technology we're using." So I think while things are getting better as far as the divide between designers and developers, there's still a little room to grow in that area. What's happening? I think that if the two just work together from the get-go, that's a good start. If typically, like I said, a designer would design this, static image and say, here's what I want. When you click this button, this swooshy thing happens, and so developers are like, I don't know what you're talking about. And I think if they work together from the get-go, there would be better communication and better knowledge of like what the limitations are. And also, I think learning each other's skill set would really help in that area. So, one, you would gain a respect for what the other person does. Like I said, I was a graphic designer, and then I got into development, and I really started to understand why, these great ideas I had, and they can't always be done. If you have a month to do it and the technology is limiting, things like that. But also, communication's easier if you know these type of things, and that also works with developers. I think developers could learn, some design and appreciate it more and understand why, the colors and the fonts do kind of matter. And, on the flip side of that, with designers, I think if they just learn, some CSS, HTML at least, they could understand a little more how to communicate and, what these issues are. And at the end of the day, if the two still can't get along, we have a common enemy here, the users. So let's work together to figure out this problem. And there's some tools that can bridge this gap. Instead of handing a developer a static image, you can use tools like this that will allow you to create prototypes that actually kind of work and function. And it goes on the other side too. Then the developer can look at it and talk ideas, and it's much easier to communicate that way. So, any questions? All right. Well, thank you.